Hello everyone, today I want to show you how I built my growth portfolio. You'll always hear stories like, if you would have invested $1,000 in this or that stock 20 years ago, you would be millionaire by now. In hindsight, it's always easy and all of us would be millionaires and you wouldn't watch this YouTube video. But reality is different. So today I will share my approach and show you how I built my growth portfolio. This is purely to share my process of analysis. I'm not recommending any specific investment, and you always have to do your own research before making any decision. Now, before we start, a few words on diversification. There should be different components to your total portfolio. For me, this is a big portion of real estate, a big portion of invest with regular income. I use option strategies like cash secured puts, and then finally the growth part with individual stocks or ETFs. Within the stock part, if you go for individual stocks, I personally prefer to keep the number of stocks low, not more than 10 real positions, otherwise you end up having too small portions and even a big winner will not lead to substantial gains in your portfolio. This would mean that for the overall portfolio, your risk per position is still in the range of 2%. If you're uncomfortable with less but bigger positions, that's totally fine, but then I would not recommend you to pick single stocks, but go with diversified ETFs instead. You could start with more single stocks, but when you later allocate more funds to the stars of your portfolio, you still end up having less diversification anyhow. If you limit yourself to a certain number of stocks, you also enforce some self-discipline and competition between the stocks in your portfolio, as you can only enter a position when you believe it has higher potential than the weakest position you currently hold. I want to have the fun of managing a growth portfolio, and I'm personally okay with the risks that come with it, as the growth portfolio is not my only asset category. Just one problem: how to find growth stocks. I have a 6-step process for this. Step number 1, ideas and screening. 2, analysis and simulation. 3, enter small positions. 4, observe and study. 5, build the positions. Number 6, patience and honesty. I find that step number 1 is the most difficult. There are millions of stocks to pick from, but how to find the promising ones? There are multiple ways here. News groups and channels, paid research, stock screeners, or just some guys from YouTube. The point in this step is just to get potential stocks that you can have a look at in Yahoo Finance or wherever and decide whether this is something you want to spend a bit of time on or just to move on to the next one. There are probably good forums, channels or news groups in social media or on the internet. However, I personally didn't go with this option. If you have any good recommendations, please write it down in the comments. When I started, I did go with the second option and paid a reasonable amount to get some pre-selected pool of growth stocks. You don't need this for a long time, but it helped me to get kickstarted. Don't get me wrong, the general quality of those offers is pretty bad, and 90% of the stocks were junk, or I didn't even bother looking at. But I got something to start with, and I cancelled the subscription after I got a reasonable pool of stocks to start with. Stock screeners are another option. Finviz is a decent stock screening tool that I will use for this example. I'm not advertising it and I have no relation with them whatsoever. It's just one decent screening tool out of many options. So on finviz.com, first we go to the Screener tab. They have different sets of criteria to walk through. Today I would just focus on fundamental, so that's what I choose here. Now, as we are looking for growth stocks, first I would go for long-term growth, sales growth past 5 years, and set the value to at least 100%. But I also want to have some recent sales growth, so I go to the sales growth quarter over quarter and would choose, let's say, 20%. As this still will lead to a very, very long list, I would try to first get profitable companies, so I go to price earnings and set it to profitable. Now I will change for this list to the valuation view, and to start with the fastest growing stocks first, I will click twice on the sales past 5 years to get it sorted top down. And now with this list I have to go through all the stocks one by one. So let's start with number 1, Catalyst Pharmaceuticals. And I will directly go down to the key figures. So first I will have a look to the sales. Do we see an exponential sales growth pattern here, which looks actually not too bad here. Then I will have a first look to the net income. So here maybe the trend is not as clear, but at least seems to be stable, profitable company here. And I would also check the quarterly growth to see if the quarterly growth as well is supporting this exponential growth pattern, which again looks not too bad. Then next I will have a look to the company description. So they seem to operate in a very small niche market. So one of the key questions will be how much growth potential there is still in this niche market, which we can't answer right now, but we'll have to look into that later. Then I would check the news headlines if there's anything that raises a red flag. But here it seems to be rather positive. So for me, I would note down this symbol now on a piece of paper that I have something for my watch list to start detailed analysis later on. After that, I would go to the next one. Again, have a look to the sales first. So here the pattern is not that clear. We could check that in the quarterly view as well. So it seems a very recent uptick in business, which could be a good chance, but it's much harder to predict the pattern now. The income seems also the recent quarters they made some profits, while most of the time before there was no sales and then also almost no income. This company operates in different industries, so they have trading, technology platforms, insurance, but then also something for mobile resource management. So for a quite small company size, they are operating in different markets, which can be good for diversification, but also could mean that they are lacking some focus in a certain profitable market. If I look to the headlines, so there has been something here with some short selling allegations. So this definitely would raise some question marks for me. So this stock right now would not make it to my watch list. If I go to the next one, so here the name says it all, mining, which is not my favorite. Sales, very recently they started and then made some profit in this 1 year. And the quarterly development looks a little bit better. But again, this is not something I would bet on if they can continue the growth pattern. So again, this stock would not make it to my watch list. And this you have to repeat and go through all of those. And then you will end up having at least some ticker symbols on your watch list, which we can analyze in the next steps. You will have to play with the criteria by yourself to find stocks that fit your taste. What we are looking for is a sales development with a clear growth pattern, improving net results, a predictable business model that can be expanded, a sufficient market size, and of course no red flags. Please note that my focus on already profitable stocks has narrowed down the list a lot. It will make sense to look at unprofitable companies in an earlier growth phase as well. At the end, you will end up with a stock watch list, and this can contain results from different sources. Here are some stocks that I currently have on my growth watch list. Now I have stocks on my watch list, and this is where the real work starts. We'll have to do more detailed analysis on the financial figures, the business outlook, and future growth simulation. I'll go through this in my next video, so please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out the next videos of this series. That's it for today. Please hit like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.